We meet again. We meet again. I don't want to do these videos. I hate these sorts of videos. I hate seeing them on YouTube. I hate all these fans that rant and do all that stuff. I like to think I'm not going to rant. I'm just going to say facts. So, I don't even know what to say, man. I don't know what to say, except for that I need a haircut. If you've been living under a rock, Liverpool defeated Manchester United 5-0 at Old Trafford last night, just over 7 hours ago, whatever it was. And in what was probably one of the worst performances, I'm going to say one of the worst performances I've seen in a long time. It really wasn't, to be honest, even though we lost 5-0. This result has been coming all season. I've said it in videos. I know my last video was why Manchester United will beat Liverpool, but if you actually watch it, I sort of did say I'm expecting to get pumped. But this result has been coming all season. We haven't played well against Everton. We didn't play well against Villa. We didn't play well against Atalanta. And there's a video of Paul Scholes circling around, which I'm sure you've all seen. But there's another video of him going around after the Atalanta game saying, yeah, celebrate the win because it's a great win. You have to celebrate all the wins that you do get. But try that against Liverpool on Sunday and see what happens. Who's sucking toes now, Scholesy, huh? It's exactly that has happened. We've pretty much tried the exact same thing, but we've come up against a top team, arguably I think you could confidently say the most informed team so far in the world, okay? I think they're the team to beat as of right now. They're hitting form. Mo Salah, undeniably the best player, currently the best player in the world. We've come out, and Liverpool didn't play that well. Obviously they played good, but they didn't hit second gear. We sort of let them just, the second half you might as well just call the game off at half time. They didn't even bother in the second half. You know, they honestly could have played another game straight after that. They just found it way too easy. The first 12 minutes was the most open 12 minutes of football I've seen in my life. In the first 12 minutes, you know, Bruno could have buried one. If Bruno buries the shot in the first 5 minutes, I think it might have been, could be a completely different game. But once again, we're going to look back on our defense, and especially the midfield, because I don't ever think the attack can't get away with it either, you know. So yeah, it's not good. So a couple of talking points I'm going to get through. Harry Maguire is going to be one of them, and not just him as a player, him as a leader. Okay, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Let's start off with him, and I feel for him because I like him. I do like Ole. I think he seems like a nice dude, but he has to be sacked in the morning, and deep down, I don't think he will be. This result screams 6-1 against Tottenham last season. It screams the exact same result. I did this exact same video. I did this exact same sort of speech, and nothing happened after. I think Ole knew last night that the writing was on the wall. His facial expressions after the game, I think he could sort of tell that was it. Let's talk Paul Pogba as well later on. You know, drop in the comments what you think about Paul Pogba, because I'll touch on that later. I think there's 3 scenarios with what happens at Manchester United in terms of the manager position. Number 1, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer stays. We don't sack him. The board, one of the most unproactive boards out there, does nothing. He's cheap, he's all that, okay? Yeah, we've got a good team, we can be able to scrape results. People are already taking us out of the title race, which is hard to sort of deny, but you know, it's not over until it's over. But you have to admit, United are nowhere near up to scratch with any of those top 3 teams. Number 2 is we go for a Zidane or a Conte. 2 of arguably the best men. There's also an Allegri, but I don't think an Allegri would even be on a Man United radar. I'd take him, but I just don't see United doing it. A Zidane or a Conte, okay? I mentioned in the previous 1-0 show Zidane how it's a team that he would sort of like, and it's a team that you can tell he'd sort of be interested in coaching. Obviously, Varane and Ronaldo he's had. Pogba was always someone that he'd supposedly always wanted to coach, and Pogba always wanted to try and allegedly make a move to Real Madrid to be coach under Zidane. Donny van der Beek also seems like a player that he'd be interested in coaching with a similar sort of style. There's a Zinedine Zidane, but there's a risk that comes with signing a Zidane. He's coached Real Madrid. He won 3 Champions Leagues with Real Madrid back to back. That's Real Madrid, and not the Real Madrid team now that you see with, you know, Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. on the wings. It's a Real Madrid team that had cracking players. A Ronaldo, a younger Ronaldo, a Rafael Varane arguably in his prime, a Karim Benzema who was fine, a Luka Modric who won the Ballon d'Or in the World Cup year. That's an unbelievable team. Now, it is a risk because he hasn't really been in this environment before, in the environment of A, the Premier League, but B, coming to a team that, okay, you need to get results, because if you drop results, there's another 3-4 teams that are going to go above you. Whereas if you do it in Spain, like Zidane was, with all due respect, there's probably 2 max that with Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, that can maybe climb over you in the league competition. Then there's the other option in Conte, which we've all mentioned. And there's something about Conte that the United fans saying that we don't want him because he's too defensive. Dude, we need a defensive coach. Look at us. Okay, Ole technically should be a defensive coach because our game plan, if you can even say that, is counter-attacking football. If you play a McFred midfield, you're a defensive coach. Okay, Conte can do it, but he can do it times 2,000 better than Ole. There's Conte, but I don't think Conte will be the man. I think Zidane is that power player and the power person and the manager and the name that United will gravitate to. And I think Ronaldo will have a say in who becomes the next manager if we do sack Ole, which, like I said before, I don't even see happening. Now, the third option is possibly a bit more of an out there one, but one that I do want to mention. Pochettino. We know what PSG are like with the managers in recent years. Obviously, Thomas Tuchel being one of them. PSG haven't had a good start to the season. I think they're going to be a lot more ruthless with managers, even than what they were before. And if Pochettino fails out in the Champions League and even in the league, which is possible, I think Pochettino gets sacked at the end of the season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer remains Manchester United coach until the end of the season. Pochettino gets the Manchester United job. And I know what you might be saying, but how can you do something good at Manchester United if you can't do something good at PSG? Pochettino doesn't strike me as a PSG coach. Someone of PSG should be like a Mourinho, like a Conte, even like a character, someone who can level the egos. We've had Tuchel come out recently and say not only did he have to manage the players, he had to manage the players' families, the players' managers. Okay, they're Paris, mate. They love the Eiffel Tower. They're the superstars. Okay, Pochettino isn't a superstar character. I still think he's a great manager. I don't think Newcastle United could even go in for a Pochettino in the near future. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's also the case, because part of me, my gut feeling just doesn't see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer getting sacked in the next 24 hours. Which is crazy. It's absurd, really, because he should have been gone almost last season. We're not going to win a trophy with Ole as coach. I think that's a well-known fact. And one thing I will say is I do think United fans, most of them want him to succeed. I definitely want Ole to succeed. I hate changing managers. Like, I couldn't do with Chelsea. I just don't like it. I messaged the boys last night that this week is going to be hell if we sack Ole, because already you just get all this unwanted attention to the team, to the club. It can't happen. But in the big picture, Ole's got to go. That wraps it up on Ole. Drop in the comments if you think Ole will be sacked. Let's go to Pogba. Pogba comes on, gets red carded. Interesting change. Paul Scholes, once again, after the game, sort of said he almost referred to him as he doesn't want to see Pogba in a Manchester United shirt ever again, saying that it was disrespectful to come on in the second half, in the game scenario that we were in, already 4-0 down, to come on and go in for a stupid challenge like that. Finds it almost disrespectful to the manager, but disrespectful to the club. Now, take it as you want. I don't, maybe not on that extent, but he also went on to say how much Pogba has sort of been a nuisance to the club. Is he someone that we do want to just let go? Because he hasn't signed a contract yet. His agent has always been a pain in the backside. He's always had this unwanted media attention saying this and that, this and that. He's been inconsistent, okay? He's continuing to get minutes, or actually not really this season, but he hasn't been consistent. And when can you find this consistent form? I still think Pogba can be one of the best midfielders in the world. I think he has the talent to. It's whether he wants to get it right in there. I wouldn't go to that extent, but the extent I would go to is Harry Maguire. Okay, now this is when I might get a bit. You look at two teams, and I hate Liverpool. All credit to Liverpool because they pumped us. Okay, it was insane. You look at the two captains of the teams last night. Harry Maguire, Jordan Henderson. Jordan Henderson isn't an unbelievable player. He's a great player, a player that Man United fans would cry for to be in that holding midfield role. But he's not I wouldn't even say he's top 5 best players in the current Liverpool team. But he's a leader, and the leader isn't always, and the captain isn't always the best player. How Harry Maguire got the captaincy, I do not know. I've got no idea. At the time he got it, and probably should have been a David De Gea. Maybe we thought De Gea was close to leaving, and maybe his form sort of at the time maybe goes, okay, damn, he's probably got 1 year max in him. We are losing 4-0 and you don't see a thing. How are you going to be telling other players to lift themselves when you can't even defend yourself, brother? Okay, I'm not a pro baller, and I know it's crazy if you've been watching 1MUFC season 1. I'm not a pro baller, but come on, man, you don't defend like that. Defend side on, move your body around, stay on your toes, okay? Once Varane, we need back ASAP. Once Varane comes in, Maguire technically should be the player to be dropped. If you base it on form, Lindelof hasn't been great, but he's looked more confident than Maguire. So what do you do there? There's Maguire, not once did I see him trying to encourage everyone, trying to just be an enforcer on the pitch. Liverpool are winning 5-0. Curtis Jones is sort of struggling back after a tackle, blah, blah, blah. Gives away a free kick. 87th minute, Jordan Henderson's yelling at him, get back, get back, get back. If you look again, as soon as that final whistle went, I think Robertson might have misplaced the pass. Or Curtis Jones might have, again, once again. And it was just when the whistle went. Henderson throws his arms up. And that's what championship teams need. You need a good leader there who doesn't have to be the best player, but someone who can consistently give you 7, 8 out of 10 performances week in, week out, but be there to lead your team. Okay, I think Ronaldo is a leader, but I think he also can be a sook. We saw what he did to Curtis Jones, which was crazy. Bruno Fernandes, I don't think, could be a captain either, because he throws his arms up more than people, Mr. Worldwide. And then you look at anyone else, and who's McTominay, I don't think is good enough. I think he's got the capability of being a leader, but I think he's a good enough player. You know, Rashford doesn't strike me as a leader, so who's actually there? I think Lindelof, honestly, could be that sort of player. But again, he's not good enough. So what do you do with that? That's Harry Maguire's pissed me off. I'm straight up, he's pissed me off. And Varane, we need to come back. And I feel for Lindelof, because naturally Lindelof will be the one to give way for Varane. But I don't think it deserves to be given away. I think Maguire doesn't deserve to be starting. Now, what does the future hold for United? Well, I've got no idea. I'm going to try and say what I know, but I've got no idea. It all depends on what happens tonight here in Australia. And I guess if you're in England, what happens in the morning. If Ole gets sacked, it shows the ambition for the club. If he doesn't, we're in for a long season. We are in for another very, very long season. Because, like the commentator said last night, you look at the top 3 teams currently in the Premier League: Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool. Look at the 3 managers: Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, Thomas Tuchel. You could arguably say that those are the 3 best managers in the world right now. Ole is a toenail of half of those managers. He's nowhere near that. If any other manager has this team, any of those 3 managers has this team, I guarantee you I'll put the house on it that we do way better. And I hate slandering Ole all the time, because the players need to cop a lot of flack as well. Because Fred, to be honest, I'll give it to Fred. He was almost the one that was sort of trying the whole game, because by the end of it, no one was really running around doing nothing. I think Greenwood was stiff to come off at half time. I think Sancho has to play. You got Sancho, Donny van de Beek on the bench. Are you kidding me? Liverpool brought on Oxlade-Chamberlain, and I love Ox. He's a little mix-up. But we've got Sancho and Donny van de Beek on the bench. Naby Keita was playing for Liverpool in the midfield, and he scored. And he was one of the better players at times in the midfield. And we've got those 2 players on the bench, can't get a game. Are you taking the piss? We had Cavani come on. Cavani's an unbelievable striker. Someone who I'd like to see get more minutes, to be honest, because I think he's the one that actually plays with a badge. And I think deep down he knows that this is probably his last season of top flight football. So I think what happens in the next 24 hours is huge. Not only for Ole, but for Man United, and for the Man United fans out there. Because we sack Ole, it's okay, cool, what's next? I think fans have been calling for a long time. It sort of shows the ambition of, okay, we can't do this anymore. If we don't, it's, okay, damn, we are in this hole for another season. Because if he doesn't get sacked now, he's not going to get sacked till the end of the season. So we'll leave it at that, ladies and gentlemen. I hate doing these videos. I hate it. If you did enjoy, for whatever reason, if you're a Liverpool fan, like and subscribe, cheer me up, do something to cheer me up. And yeah, that's me. I'll see you next week for another 1-0 show. Deuces.